So when you are that far away, I can't hear you. When you are there or closer, like you can go back a little bit.
Hi.
Trouble to hear you?
Hi.
Great.
Okay.
So if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do you want to hear yourself?
Like this?
Okay, great.
No, it's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, hi. You're listening to Service from Hell, the podcast featuring people that are currently in customer service positions or the lucky ones that got out, and all the good, bad, and infinitely irritating things that go along with that work. I'm actor and writer Kate Gaffney, and I am uniquely qualified to discuss this as I currently work at a very busy and very popular comedy club in Los Angeles, and at least one of you listening right now has probably grabbed me and told me that you were ready to order when I was running around like a crazy person. So let's eat. I'd like to welcome our guest, Jaya Subramanian. Jaya is an actor and writer originally from one of my favorite cities in the whole world, Chicago, Illinois. Jaya performs regularly at the Second City and can most recently be seen in Try a Little Tender NSA. I better know Jaya from performing together at the Second City in a show called Broke City Cabaret. Jaya, please tell us a little bit about yourself, including our unending nerves before a show together.
Okay. Hi. I'm Jaya Subramanian, like Kate Gaffney said. What would you like to know about me?
So where are you from?
I'm from Chicago. I'm actually from Darien, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago.
Which is very important that you clarify because people from Chicago get very mad.
Upset. But I did go to college in Chicago and live in Chicago until I moved here.
Okay.
To LA.
How long ago did you move to LA?
12 years ago.
Wow. So you're an LA local now.
Sure.
And that's what they say after 10.
I heard that the other day. Yeah. Yeah.
And would you prefer Chicago or LA?
I love Chicago. I mean, I love it. I miss it. I would move back there in a heartbeat. The weather sucks.
Oh, it does.
You know,
Yeah.
so bad. But I live here now, and my husband's here, and my child's here. So I don't know. I'm confused by it. I don't know.
But given the opportunity, you would abandon both your husband and child and just move to Chicago if the weather were better. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
If the weather were better, I'd be
out.
like, we're moving to Chicago.
Oh, you would move the
But
whole
wouldn't
family?
everybody?
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a good city.
But you would move with your husband and child. You wouldn't leave them here?
No, I wouldn't leave them here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not up in the air. That's good. You're a good wife.
Some days, though.
Some days.
Yeah.
Okay. Why'd you come out to LA? What's LA about?
I came out to LA because I am an actor.
Oh, it's what we do.
Yes. And so I did theater in Chicago for a long time. And there just came a point where there wasn't a lot of work or there's a lot of theater in Chicago, but there wasn't at the time after the first strike in 2000 to make money as an actor. There wasn't a ton of commercial work. There weren't a lot of shows being filmed there like there are now.
Yeah, now there's
it's
a
very
ton.
different city.
Yeah.
And so if you didn't want to necessarily have to have 3 jobs, be doing shows while auditioning for the odd part here and there, you had to move on.
Okay.
So I left Chicago to come here. Sadly, because I love the theater scene in Chicago.
It is pretty strong.
And made my way to sunny Los Angeles.
Okay. And so what neighborhood did you move to in LA?
I only lived in one other neighborhood than what I live in now. I moved to Silver Lake.
Wait, did you have that one apartment the whole... Oh, no, you had...
Almost. I lived in one apartment before, a small apartment with people who all became my very close friends for a year. And then I moved into my apartment that I lived in up until 1 year ago.
That's so... Jaya had this amazing... I would call it a duplex because it was...
It was a duplex, yeah.
That was technically considered a 1-bedroom, but really wasn't. It was massive, and we were always over there all the time. And
Yes.
that was she had a gem until, as is what happens in LA, someone bought the building, raised the rent. How much did they raise it in like
$3,000
in like a month? Right, you got like a month. Warning?
They gave us 2 months.
Oh, isn't that so nice? 60 days to come up with an extra $3,000 to pay rent.
So we were like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're going to pay an extra $1,000. And then we were going to buy a house anyway and getting ready to do that. So it was kind of like, well.
Jay's an anomaly. She's an artist out here that is married and has a kid. And are you comfortable with me saying that there's one on the way?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaya's got a bun in the oven.
Yep.
Which that means your baby's on the podcast.
Yes.
Making your baby's debut.
Yes. She's making her debut.
Okay, so you are acknowledging the gender. I didn't know. I didn't know what everybody knew.
It's
so
a girl.
Like, okay.
I'm happy.
But you already have a boy. So
I have a boy.
One of each.
One of each.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay. And so what do you prefer between theater, film, and commercial work or TV? What do you prefer on all 4 of those, I guess?
What do I prefer doing? Theater. I love doing theater.
That's your number one?
I love it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, commercial work is fun. I mean, it pays the bills.
It makes money.
Yeah. But I love doing theater.
Okay. And so when you first moved out to Los Angeles, you were like aggressively doing theater, or you were just like, no, I'm doing only film and television now that I've moved out here?
No, when I first moved out here, I mean, obviously I had an agent in Chicago, so I leaned on them and depended on them to kind of like help me find representation out here. And they would send me out on some stuff here. And then I think my other focus was, yes, I wanted to get representation, but also I wanted to get involved somehow, meet other actors, find a way to kind of like network. And I started Second City classes in Chicago, and then it kind of interfered with my rehearsal schedule for something else I was doing. So I kind of let that go. So I had 2 friends that were already in the conservatory here, Parvesh and Sonal, and I jumped right into that. I jumped right into Second City classes.
And then you ended up graduating the conservatory here?
I did, yep. Mm-hmm,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you met David through that? Or
David Carmen?
Yeah, he was in your class. Okay. All right. So that got you here. And didn't you also, I think you met your husband in that conservatory?
I did meet my husband. He was very funny. He was in a different class originally. And I remember watching him perform and being like, ugh, like he's so funny.
Being annoyed.
I'm the funniest one.
And actually, full circle, her husband is who designed the logo of this podcast. So the little thing that you guys were looking at when you clicked on to listen to this amazing podcast, her husband is this incredibly talented, would you call him a graphic designer, graphic artist?
Yeah, he's a designer. Yeah. Illustrator.
Designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of things. So yeah. All right, great. So thank you for the apps. I hope you guys enjoyed your nachos. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back. We're back. That was an extendo break, and it's now time for the entrees. Now, Jaya, this is the super speed round of questions.
Okay.
But if you want to, tell a story along with them, you totally can, but you don't have to, because this is just a succession of questions.
Okay.
What was your first job ever?
My first job ever was I was a janitor.
Fuck off. Are you kidding? Were you really?
No. So when I was like 15, my mom was like, you have to get a summer job. And I was like, okay. So then she like set me up with like an interview at the Brookfield Zoo. And I went and I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to work here. And then they hired me and they're like, you're going to work concessions. And I was like, no, I'm not working this job. And I cried. And my mom was like, okay, you don't have to do that. So then she was like, I got you a job somewhere else. She was like, you are working no matter what, basically. And so she got me a job at my grade school, like cleaning and painting the school. But I did it. It was actually fun. I did it with, the janitors, but they were so weird. My very first day, the first time I did it, it was just me. I was the first kid to start, and these 2 weird janitors. One listened to like religious radio the whole time and like sang religious songs, and I definitely thought something was wrong with him. And then the other one was telling me that his wife beat him up and locked him in a closet. And I just remember being like, is this going to be my whole summer? Oh my gosh.
And you're 15.
I was 15, but then the other kids came that I went to grade school with, and it ended up being really fun. And we would not be working with the 2 janitors, and we'd be like painting classrooms or doing whatever. But the janitors were all crazy. Another summer, there was a janitor. We were eating lunch, like in the teacher's break room, and he came in, and I don't know, I think like Maury or some weird, maybe Jerry Springer was on the TV.
Yeah.
And this janitor was, I think, trying to be cool around the kids. And he's like, at my bachelor party, we had a stripper. She could hang 17 hangers off her nipple. And we were like, What?
A, that's
Okay.
not possible.
Yeah.
And B, what?
The janitors. I mean, the janitors were all crazy, but it was so fun because we were never with them. We were like
With each other.
like painting classrooms and like cleaning desks. So it was fine. But yeah, janitor Jaya.
Wait, so Janitor Jaya lasted for just one summer, or did you
No,
do that?
I did it all the way up through. I did it my sophomore year, my junior year, my senior year, and then I think my freshman year of college, I
Tried to hold on to the magic.
did something else.
Oh, really?
I was a temp. Like I worked at a temp agency, but I did it all through
throughout
high school every summer. It was so fun. It was fun. I looked forward to it.
That's actually kind of cool. Aren't you
Yeah.
glad you said no to working at a zoo?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I met some weird janitors.
I mean, the nipple story. Like,
How about it?
That's
Like,
how, what?
what?
And how does that come up?
And we're all just like kind of eating our lunch. Like,
Did you guys just go back to eating after he said
yeah,
it?
we didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
All of
what's
us were
your
just kind of like, why are you telling us this?
How do you contribute to that? Like, oh, my mom's a stripper. What do you say to that?
Yeah, you're just kind of like, okay.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah.
very cool.
Like the guy that like told me his wife locked him in his closet.
Yeah.
Like,
Why
I'm
did you need that
15.
in- yeah.
What do you want me to do about this?
Are you hitting on me, or are you like, is this therapy?
Oh
What
my
is this?
God. It was
Okay.
weird.
How many, and please feel free to count, customer service jobs have you had? And I would count that. I would count cleaning as a customer service job.
Really?
I mean, I guess, well,
I
you
never
didn't
had
really-
to deal with customers.
Oh, you didn't interact with anybody at the school other than the weirdo
The
janitor?
principal. No, not really.
Okay, then,
yeah.
then don't count that.
Because there's no kids in school. So you're just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like there getting the school ready for the school year.
Oh, that is super fun.
So yeah, you're like doing whatever you want.
Oh, that is way
cleaning. They have a list of stuff.
But you're with your friends. Oh,
We
I
were
totally
friends. It was
misinterpreted
fun.
this.
Yeah.
I thought you had I thought it was like summer school sessions with people and like.
No, this is like grade school. So these are
fuck
little
yeah.
kids.
Oh, you did say that. I'm not
Yeah.
listening. I'm doing a really good job. Being a host.
Customer service
Yeah.
jobs. So
Count 'em up.
I worked at the temp agency. No. So then Barnes and Noble, and I worked at a baby boutique, which was a nightmare for like 1 year. And then I worked at Barnes and Noble, which took me through for years.
Yeah.
It was the job I kept while I was.
Okay. I really want to know about the baby boutique, but I'm going to keep on with these questions and then we're going to go back to the baby boutique
Yeah.
because I'm very curious. What was your favorite job of all the jobs? Don't include acting because so many assholes are on this podcast answering. Well, the acting. is
Yeah,
life."
you
It's
mean like
yeah,
in
no
my
kidding.
of my like
of the shitty survival jobs.
stupid jobs that
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah.
My favorite job? I mean, I guess it would have to be Barnes and Noble because I worked there for so long.
No, but that's not a real answer. It sounds like it was the janitor job.
I think it was because that was the most fun.
You're great. That's
Yeah,
a great answer. Okay.
that was the most fun.
What was your least favorite?
The baby boutique.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Now I want
hated
you to tell me about why you hated it. Why was it your least favorite?
Well, so it was when I was in college, this girl was like, "Oh, I'm going away for the summer. They need someone to work at the baby boutique to fill in for me at this baby boutique, Bellini."
Okay, wait, I want to jump in. Now, when you say baby boutique, do you mean like there's actual like,
Babies for sale. No, I'm just kidding.
no, like this is like a fancy high-end kind of
High-end,
like Babies R Us kind of
ritzy,
thing?
like fancy, like
Super
European
expensive.
lines.
Oh,
like you
God.
can design your own baby bedding, like very expensive strollers, like
So this
baby
is the-
perfume.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it
That's a
smells
thing.
really good. Yeah.
I bet it does, but babies smell good.
Yeah, but so does this baby perfume.
Okay, so you can shove perfume on your baby, but it attracts that type of mom.
Yes.
And that type of mom is a very
It's like the
specific
most
mom.
expensive things, like
Okay.
a like $150 rattle.
Oh God,
You know.
Is that a real thing? $150 rattle?
Yeah, there are $150 rattles.
Jaya, what? But a baby doesn't know the difference between that
don't
and a
know.
box.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, so go ahead. So so they're like, fill in. We need you for the summer.
So my friend was like, "Yeah, like, do you want to work at Bellini?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm actually looking for a summer job. That sounds great." So I went, I interviewed.
What was the interview like?
It was weird. The wife was nice. The husband was there. The husband's ex-wife, her mother was my dad's patient, oddly enough.
That's
So
weird.
that was kind of a weird situation. And so basically they gave me the job on the spot. They were like, "You come recommended, whatever, blah, blah, blah." So I started there. It was it was terribly unorganized. Like designing the baby bedding, they never quite explained it to me. Ordering the furniture was really complicated because it was coming from Europe.
Oh my God.
And then their daughter ran the store, but she didn't like to work. She was really had a terrible attitude. She was like unfriendly and like she liked to delegate a lot.
Meaning she liked to play like she was your boss, or was she your boss technically?
I guess she was, but it was just like, you could be doing something and then she'd ask you to do something else while you're doing that, and then this, and then you weren't moving fast enough. And it was just like, oh, this is miserable. But what made it worse was no one liked working there. Like all the women were miserable. But the reason was these people, A, never paid you on time. And then B, you'd have to like pay attention to your paycheck and your hours because they would sometimes not give you the correct amount of money.
Like they doctor hours, or what do you mean?
They'd like try and like fudge on your paycheck, you know?
Ooh.
So then you'd see these women getting their paychecks, which you didn't get on time, and they'd be like cross-referencing the hours they've marked down with, you know, like what their hourly wage.
Wow.
Right. And then...
Wait, they'd make you argue then. So you'd have to go back and be like, hey, this is incorrect.
Right. And like these women had no problem doing it. I never did that. But what made it the worst was they also would... There was a lot of complaint. There were a lot of angry customers because they would order this furniture. A lot of people would order this baby furniture and then not want the baby furniture until the baby was delivered, right?
Oh, so they want you guys to hold it.
So you'd be holding, which is very common, you know, to not set anything up until a baby's born. And these people would like, I think because they were struggling, I don't know, because they were not managing their business well, they would sell. So they'd like give other people's furniture to other people. So like then the baby would be born and there'd be no furniture and it would be like this mess. And then they were behind on bills and like UPS was angry because they hadn't paid a bill there, or it was like every day you were battling, like some other angry person was like, I'm reporting you to the Better Business Bureau, or we're not delivering this because you haven't paid this bill. And
you're in college. You like don't know.
Yeah, this was like a summer job. So then these customers are coming in the store screaming. They don't have baby furniture. They've paid thousands of dollars for this baby furniture.
Oh my God.
And they don't have it because they've given it to somebody else, or because somebody else had a baby and they gave their furniture to somebody. You know, it was a mess.
Wait, so how would they remedy it for the customers that were like,
they wouldn't. I mean, these people just wouldn't. They'd reorder the furniture, but it took months to get.
That's what I was going to say, because now you got a baby and nothing.
Right.
Holy shit.
So
you were left to deal with that?
Yeah, like so you'd be left to deal with the customers, and then like the daughter, just like I don't know, she was the worst.
Well, nepotism doesn't ever play well.
Right.
Hello, Hollywood.
And so one day it was just like everybody had quit. Like all these people that worked there had quit. And I was like, I got to stick out my summer job.
Isn't that the Midwest
until
in
I go back to college, like
I got to do
in the
this,
fall
where they're not even paying me.
It's July. I don't start school till the end of August. So it was like me. I was like basically the only person left working there. And I was there one morning and the daughter was just like not being nice to me. Like, do this, now do this. Then I'm wrapping a gift for a customer. And I'm like, she's like, can you do this, Jaya, please? And I was like, I am doing something.
Like while you're in the middle of wrapping the gift.
Yeah, like and I'm like, when I'm done, and then she said something, she was like, excuse me, I said now. And can I swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I said, I was like wrapping it and I go, you know what? Fuck you. I quit.
Is that really what you did?
Yes. And then I like grabbed my stuff and she goes, good riddance. And I go, great. And I like walked out the door, never picked up that paycheck.
That a girl.
I just never picked it up again. I like didn't have the guts. It closed. It didn't survive. Of course it didn't survive.
Yeah, you can't live.
She had no employees. The day I walked out, nobody was left.
You were it.
I was the only one that stayed.
Wait, so what'd you do for the rest of the summer? Did you have a job?
So then I remember I called my mom and dad. My dad was like, I'm glad you did. You quit your job. My mom was like, you quit your summer job. What are you going to do? You've got a month left. You know,
we're not having you in the house.
Yeah. Like, you've got to have a summer job. So I got a job at Barnes & Noble. My girlfriend from college was working there and she's like, we're hiring. Like, come work at Barnes & Noble. So that's what I did. And then I kept it like through the school year and kept going. But,
okay. We're going to come back to that. Okay. What's the weirdest thing you've ever been asked while on the clock?
The weirdest thing. I've been asked so many weird things.
Please tell us all of them.
Oh, gosh.
Or some of them.
Well, I've been asked on a date. I've been asked for for Cliff Notes on the Bible, because you're not really sure what she. So a woman came in and asked for Cliff Notes on the Bible, and then said, "I'm not really sure what the Bible is, but this is for my child for school." And I was.
Was she being serious or was she fucking with you?
She was serious. I was confused.
How does one Cliff Note a book of stories? Just continuous stories?
Yeah, I don't know. I also just don't know how you wouldn't even just know
what the Bible is.
Right, of the Bible.
Was she, I don't even know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I would.
I
How
don't
did
know
you
what to tell
respond?
you.
What did you say?
I said, I think probably there are Cliff Notes on the Bible.
You're so nice. I would have just been like, no.
Do you actually want the Bible? It's a very popular item. And she didn't. She just wanted the Cliff Notes. I was like, all right, this is weird.
Were there actually Cliff Notes? Did you find them? Get the
There
fuck
are Bible
out of
Cliff
here.
Notes. Yes.
Wait, that just summarizes like the highlights? There's so many different stories in the Bible.
Right,
How
it
do
just
you
like summarizes the Bible, There's a lot of stuff. There's the Bible for dummies.
Oh my! It goes Adam and
she
Eve to
needed.
Jesus. Yeah, she did. The first page is what the Bible is in that book. Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to go buy that book. What the
I've
Bible
been
for
asked by
Dummies?
a celebrity who came in and was just like taking. I'm not going to say who it is.
Oh, I want you to because I know who it is, but I don't. If you're,
It's
scared,
not the
don't-
mean one.
Oh, it's not.
This one.
Well, say what it is first, and then I'll tell you if
So
we.
she came in V-cart and she wanted art books, but she wasn't really looking at the art books. So I had to follow her around with we have these V-carts.
What's a V card?
It's like a cart that can carry a large quantity of books.
Okay.
And she was just throwing these, but looking at the cover and just putting it down. But she was just going to buy all these books, hundreds and hundreds of dollars of books. And then she pointed to the stapler on the desk and was like, "And I'll take that." And I was like,
Fuck off.
"That's not for sale. That's a store stapler."
Oh.
I so weird things. I'm sure I've been asked I worked there for 10 years and a lot of crazy.
So what was your
things.
title there? What was your actual?
So I was a bookseller for years and years and years. And then in the end, the last few years, I was only there in the mornings and I was shelving, so putting the new stuff out, changing the stuff around in the store, and zoning, which means I would pull all the old stuff and return it to vendors.
Oh, interesting. Wait, if something doesn't sell, it goes back.
And make sure all the shelves were organized and looked proper, were properly organized, and what was old I would send back. And
so there's a certain shelf life. I'm not being an asshole.
Yeah, there is.
And then they will, and it's your
if it's
book's
not selling, yeah,
Get out of here.
Or if it's not selling and there's no room, we'll send it back.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were technically say,
But it was only there. I was there before the store opened. But
yeah,
that
you
was
worked crazy hours. You were what time would you have
That
to get
was
there?
only in the morning. And that was the last few years that I worked there. I would get there at 7 and then I'd leave at 11:30. It was only a few hours. And then if I had to set up something, they would change the store around all the time to try and
Get new
optimize
eyes.
sales and we'll add this. Then I would have to get there sometimes at 3 in the morning, early so that we could do it.
And to just get different eyes on different sections.
And really early before the store opened.
Are you willing to name the celebrity that was mean to you?
I don't know.
Okay, it's up to you. It's your call.
She was so mean.
Yeah, I know.
I really don't like her.
I know.
And I don't.
I know who it is.
Cry.
I know. And that's why I really want you to tell because it was really shitty what happened.
I don't
feel
even understand what happened to this day. She just didn't like she didn't like, I wasn't moving fast enough and I wasn't smiling enough for her.
I really want you to
told
name
her
her.
assistants to remove me and was real horrible. I mean, it was horrible. One of her assistants came and apologized to me because she was so nasty.
So Jaya was working a book signing. Do you want me to name her?
Well,
Okay, if you don't want to, we're not naming her.
Well, wait, can we?
Yes, it happened to you. Who knows? This is a very popular, very successful podcast.
She might hear it.
She might, but you know what? She should. This is a lesson that people remember how you treat them, and also you're never above being kind to people. Because it wasn't that she was dismissive or you asked her for a photo and you just saw her on the street.
No,
you
she was
were
just,
working an event.
She was just really
mean,
nasty. Yeah, she was not friendly.
I think you should name her, but it's
She
your
has
call.
a cookbook. She was on Desperate Housewives.
Come on, guys, you
She
can figure it
was
out. Can we give her your initials? People will figure it out.
Recently in Dora the Explorer.
I mean, I want to give the initials, but all right. I'm sure people have been able to figure out.
I think you can figure out who it is, and
Okay.
she's not a nice person.
No, very cruel, really. And so she thought you weren't smiling enough at the cookbook
And I wasn't
signing
moving
event.
fast enough, and she didn't like what I was doing. I was trying to move her. She was doing her cookbook, signing her cookbook, and I wasn't moving fast enough, and I was trying to get the page that she was signing open for the fans, and she just didn't like what I was doing, and I wasn't smiling, and I don't know, I wasn't enough for her. Whatever it was, whatever I was giving off wasn't what she wanted.
So Jaya is still young and hot, and at the time was even younger, and I would imagine that may have played into her feelings.
She gave me the
you.
look of death. She was just like horrible to, like, she complained to the person running the event, who obviously, she complained to her sis. So finally,
they were like, "We gotta go."
And the person that ran the event was like, "I'm never inviting her back here to do a signing because she has been so difficult."
I love that.
So yeah, but that person isn't there anymore. But they did observe the same thing. I mean, it wasn't my fault. She just was.
I hope that fans
nasty.
saw that. I hope fans heard it. I hope fans that were like paying for her book to get off the shelves.
I mean, after that, I would always like Google and look for like, do people hate her? Has she been mean to other people? Like, I would always like Google and look for like, this person is a bitch.
I think karma came.
When I hate someone, I always like Google to see if other people say they hate them. Makes me feel good. Like, I'm like, let's start a hate page.
Listen, that's a real thing. People use. I'm with you. She was terrible. Okay. Yeah. So any other weird things you've been asked while on the clock?
Oh, God. I'm sure I've been asked so many weird things while I was on the clock. I mean, so many weird things happened when I worked, especially in Chicago. I worked at a Barnes & Noble that had like, there was like, so not nice. We called it a flop house, but it was like a halfway house that was like 2 doors down. It was in
like an actual halfway house, not like just people.
In the Gold Coast, in the area that Chicago people call the Viagra Triangle. Oh. And yeah, there was like a restaurant next to it. And then it was just like this place that was like a hotel, but like it was like a halfway. I mean, like there was a lot of like crazy people and like people on drugs and just like you name it that live there, and they love to come into Barnes and Noble.
Sure, because there's coffee and
live there and do weird things like, you know, start a hair salon in our bathroom.
I need to understand what that means.
Yeah, or like climb into the ceiling, you know, like they think they're gonna live up there. You know, like
I'm so sorry. Wait. Hair salon in the bathroom where people like dyeing their hair, cutting their hair, doing all of that. Is that what you mean?
It didn't go on for very long, but yeah, like there was like a person from there that like was like seeing people in our bathroom, and like we had to have locked bathrooms, no other store, you know, seeing people in our bathroom and like having a hair, you know, like cutting people's hair for money. There was one, you know, a few times there was a person, you know, face down in the toilet with a needle in their arm.
Did you see
masturbators, that? Big masturbators all over the bookstore.
What is it about libraries and bookstores? People really like to touch their dicks in those. I mean, I guess there's no porn access at the bookstore.
The worst one was we had to have like police security because we had this issue with
masturbation.
Well, and just lots of characters coming in our store. And this one cop, before he went and told management, like he was like, you got to see this. Like, come over here. You got to see this. And a customer had gone to the, you know, security and said, like, I was reading a magazine on the bench, and then I felt like dun 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 dun, you know, movement. And she like looked over. This guy's just like
really going for it. Really going for it.
He called us all over to observe it.
So this guy had not stopped masturbating?
No, he was still going. He was just, I mean, obviously he came from 2 doors down. Yeah. And he like was still going and like brings like the entire store over to see it.
That's so terrible.
And then calls management. You know, it's like, okay, I didn't need to know.
Amazing. Okay. What incident with you, besides with that celebrity lady, made like any customer asked to speak with a manager, whether it was at the baby boutique or at Barnes & Noble, was there any time a customer was like, I need to speak to your manager instead of dealing with you?
Yes. I am positive that has happened. Yes. I think there was an incident once where there was a man and I was like looking up the books for him and I didn't smile. Another thing. I wasn't smiling while I was looking and I was like, okay, yeah. Like looking, on the computer typing to look up the books, and he told me I didn't smile enough, and maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Who cares? Stop
I think I was
telling
well
women
liked
to
there, but
stop telling women to smile. I don't care who you are. Stop.
I didn't smile enough, and he started telling me I had a bad attitude, and I was like, I don't even know. I'm looking up your books. I'm sorry. Like, also, and I'm not happy. I was like, no, I'm happy. I don't know what you want me to smile about. I'm looking up your book.
Am
you
I
want me
supposed to be
just
singing at you?
keep a
Yeah.
smile on my face while I'm typing a book like a robot? Like, I
She
don't
is
know.
doing the scariest face right now looking
Well, it was
at
like,
me.
and he just kept telling me I had a bad attitude. He has to speak to the manager. I said, great, speak to the manager. I mean, I think the manager was like, okay, well, I'll help you. I don't know what you want from her.
Yeah.
Like,
what was he expecting?
hi.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I mean,
God.
I said hi. I looked up the book, but I didn't smile enough for him.
Oh, it's so
So he
gross.
has to speak to the manager.
Cool.
Yeah. I was
And
like, okay.
All right.
You're obviously having a bad day or what?
Yeah, projecting all your bullshit onto me.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Do you have any other manager stories? That's a good one. Not smiling enough is pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, like, it's definitely happened where they've asked to speak to a manager.
It's just so annoying when people have an expectation for how you're supposed to be if you're just doing your job.
Yeah. I remember there was one time at Christmas I was like wrapping and like the woman was like, it's complimentary gift wrap. Like, so
It's
if
not
it's
gonna
not
be
perfect,
amazing.
and I'm a bookseller. I'm not I can tell you about the books, but like I'm not an expert rapper.
You can put me under the tree and I can answer questions.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm not an expert, like I don't wrap everything perfectly. And she got mad and called the manager because she was like on top of me as I'm like wrapping her gift because I used too much tape.
Oh,
and then
die
like
in a fire.
also I didn't always like to like cut the sides. I would like wrap fold over the sides to wrap.
Yeah, sure.
And she was like, "You're not doing this well," and da 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 da, and you're using too much tape. And it was like, okay, like whatever.
Oh, God, the things that people ask for.
And then another time there was one manager in Chicago that we butted heads. Like we just didn't get along. Everyone else liked me, but this guy and I did not.
Yeah.
And somehow a gift card that I rang up, like the person came in to use it and it was like not redeemable or like somebody had used it. Like someone had like
Scratched it off.
and used it or something like that. And he was like, well, you're the person that rang it up. So like,
Oh, fuck off.
And I was like, okay, like, why would I do that? I don't even think I would think to do so. I'm not smart enough to think to do that.
Yeah. This dude found it on the street.
Right. And like, I remember he like tried to write me up for it. And the head manager, like tore it up. And she was like, I know you didn't do this. This is ridiculous.
So he was suggesting that you had rung him up for a used gift card was what he was
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Is that even possible?
I guess it was at the time. I don't know.
That's okay.
Or like rang it up, copied the gift card. Hold
Used
on,
it.
sir, while I copy down this like
40
20
code.
numbers
Yeah.
and let me scratch off the back and like
If you're going to run a grift on a place where you're working like a retail place, you're just going to steal the actual products. You're not going to steal a customer. Like, that's insane.
And I'm the most paranoid person in the world. I would never do something like that.
Ever. Who's got that kind of time?
I know.
Gross. Okay, so that dude was fun.
Yeah.
What's the last straw that got you out of, well, we know what happened at the baby boutique. It was nepotism. But was there like I know that things, you've moved on from Barnes & Noble, so it wasn't like a light this place on fire. But was there like a last straw at any job where you were like, I'm now done with this place, whether it was customer service or not? Have you ever walked out of a job?
Only the baby boutique.
Okay.
Barnes & Noble, I mean, there were a lot of times where I was frustrated or I felt like I was doing more than like what my job title required. But I never walked out. I mean, like I felt like the management team that I worked with was always very accommodating and nice to me. And
You got lucky.
Yeah, I did get lucky, but definitely didn't like working with customers in the end. That's why I also, besides the hours, it was flexible with being able to be an actor. But I hated working with customers. I mean, the customers, especially at the Grove. Like in Chicago, it wasn't so bad, but I worked at the Grove. And those customers
Real
made me
specific.
want to commit murder.
Really?
Yeah. Some of them very entitled, very sloppy, demanding.
What's like an example of them being entitled? Because that word comes up on this podcast a lot by a lot of people that work in customer service. What's an example?
They definitely treated you like you were like you worked for them. Like they didn't have to be very friendly to. They weren't. Lots of like frustration if you didn't have what they were looking for. I mean, they treated you like when you were helping them, it sometimes felt like some of the customers treated you as if you were their assistant.
Gross.
Also, like, it's not a library. Put your book back, and like, definitely pulling things out, throwing them on the floor, expecting you to pick it up. Like it felt like we were expected to clean up. Well, we did have to clean up after them, but they treated us like maids. Like they come in, destroy the store, leave. It was just.
And it was just like, oh, did it get worse?
It was like their home. Like, people treat the bookstore like their home. They'd get cozy for hours, take out 50 books, look at them, not buy them. It's a store. Like, do you go sit and close and like hang out at Nordstrom's? Like, I never understood it. Like, use all the stuff, and then like, it's not a library. It's a store where people are buying things.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about that.
Like you pull these books out, they'd read, and then sometimes we can't sell them. Like, it's a store.
Because they're dirty.
And these people are like camping out, getting food from the cafe, like just getting cozy, and it's like, that's cool for a little bit, but like,
what would you think?
It's a store.
What's a normal threshold of time for like a bookstore?
I mean, there's nothing. There are people that would stay for hours.
That's so crazy to me.
Like just camp out for hours and use the books and. I don't know. It's a store.
Yeah. You're like, we actually have to
They're
make money.
not for rent.
Okay. And this may not apply, but I kind of hope it doesn't apply to you, but how many bodily fluids have been on you while you were on the clock were there ever bodily fluids you had to interact with?
Oh gosh. I have to tell you something. What people do in public restrooms is disgusting.
Not even public. Well, that would technically be a private restroom because it was at a business. It is insane.
There was one time there's so many like poo explosions.
Come on.
That just like put me over the edge. There was one time like there was a guy in there. The door was locked. Somebody went in there. He had no clothes on. There was poo all over the walls.
Jaya.
Pacing back and forth. It's just like poo all over the walls.
No.
Like, so much poop on the walls so often.
So even if you have like IBS or you have, say like you're really sick and like you're like, okay, I get it. Like sometimes you got to go to some sort of business and be like, holy shit, they've got a bathroom and I got to handle business.
Yeah.
Fine. If you shit all over the walls, there's toilet paper accessible to you. There's paper towels accessible to you. Clean up your own shit. It is not the job of anybody working anywhere else.
No.
And sometimes if you're sick and it happens, plus there's not alcohol in theory being consumed at Barnes & Noble. Like nobody has the excuse of you guys overserved me, so I barfed all over your floors.
Although there were drunk people, like in Chicago, we'd have like people with like sneaky little bottles of alcohol getting drunk from 2 doors down.
Oh, bless them.
But like, yeah, poo all the time. Like I never understood it, but it wasn't like accidental. Like, oops, I wasn't sitting on the toilet seat and it sprayed. It was like literally they were taking it with their hands and smearing it all over the wall.
No, Jaya.
That happened a lot.
Jaya!
Or like the diarrhea explosion and then like trying to put your poopy underwear into the drain. Like
not into the
shitty underwear.
Oh, my
or
God.
like someone in Chicago was in line to check out and like pooed their pants all over the floor, like shit their pants. Another woman was drunk. She like broke a glass, then her like broken empty bottle fell out and she took Barnsey, the Christmas bear that they used to sell. I don't think they sell that anymore. And she was like rubbing it on her crotch.
Jaya.
We had to kick her out of the store. But
oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so who was responsible for cleaning up the hand printed shit on the wall?
It's one of us. Like you would have to like they'd have to be like someone, people could refuse. I refused, but then they'd be like, we'll buy you. I remember someone was like, all right, I'll do it if you get me Chipotle, which like, I don't want Chipotle
after that. Oh, God, they're too similar.
Yeah.
Oh God. So one of y'all would have to clean it up. Would you guys have biohazard gloves and like bleach and all the shit
I mean, like you get this and like who's gonna clean that with their bare hands?
Well,
I mean, you never know. Well,
see?
I mean, so there were cleaning people at the one in the Grove, and there was a guy there that, oh boy, he was not clean. He was like a cleaning person. I felt bad for him. And I think he just wasn't like well in the end. He ate like ramen noodles with Cheetos in it every day and like just not healthy. But then he had this Oh, it's really disgusting.
You have to tell it. You have to tell it.
He had this like thing that was like growing out of his ear, but it was like bloody and it was like really sick. And then there'd like be like blood all over his shirt.
Jesus.
And like,
Do you think like a tumor or something?
nobody would say anything. And it was like, you couldn't sit in the break room if he was sitting there because you would want to throw up. Like everybody was like so grossed out. And he also
he's your
wasn't
cleaning guy?
Yeah, one of them. And he also wasn't very clean.
Hygienically,
yes. And yeah, this is really gross.
you gotta go in.
He
Sorry,
would
wait.
at
A
the
trigger
break room-
warning, guys. If you get
Yeah,
sick
this is
with,
like
this,
so
Is this
gross.
blood related?
Well, it's sick.
Okay, trigger warning, guys. Skip
So
ahead.
besides the fact that visually it was just so sickening to see at the break room table when you're eating, he would also pick his ear, like pick it out,
Oh,
and
I'm
then
gonna throw up.
stick and then like eat it. Like,
I'm gonna throw up.
like put it in his mouth. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
That's
my
how I
God.
was. So eventually someone said something and eventually like he got really sick. Like I think he got sick and then eventually like he just couldn't be at work. And they said like, you have to be clean. This has to be patched up. You know, your ear has to be patched up.
Okay, if you skipped ahead now,
He may not have used gloves cleaning stuff.
that was the reason that story. I regret asking that question.
Yeah.
If you skipped ahead, now we're not talking about disgusting
No.
anymore. Okay.
I felt bad for him, but it
Bless
was
his
really
heart.
gross.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Okay. Do you tip when you go out?
Yes,
If so, how much?
20%.
Okay. Have you ever stiffed anyone that's waited on you?
No.
Never.
I think I've always left 20%. I think if I've had like really, really bad service and they haven't been polite or something like that, which is very rare, that doesn't happen very often.
God bless you.
Maybe I've left 15.
Wow.
But for the most part, no, I usually leave 20.
That's incredible. Your husband does the same, I assume.
Yeah.
You guys are very generous
well, also,
people.
I mean, like, I worked at Barnes & Noble. Like, you know, you're
You get how hard it is.
you don't, yeah, it's like you're working hard. You don't love to be, is this necessarily what you want to be doing right now?
No.
So, you know.
Okay, that's great. So you've never worked in a position though, like you probably didn't get tips at Barnes and Noble, right? Or did people ever tip
No,
you?
I mean, I would in my 20s back at Barnes & Noble in Chicago, there was like a small period of time where I worked as a barista on the barista side of things, like in the cafe
Would
for
they
a
tip
period
you?
of time. And I would get tips there, but they weren't supposed to leave tips, but they would tip.
Oh, that's nice.
Not much. Nobody tips very much.
Not with baristas. Yeah, I've done
No.
that job. And you like, if you walk away from the shift with like $50, you're like, holy shit.
Oh my God, I would never. Like,
No,
I think
yeah.
I was like excited if I walked away with $20.
Yeah, that seems about right. And then have you ever been fired from any job?
No.
Okay, that's lucky you. What's the worst customer you've ever had to interact with?
The worst customer I ever had to interact with.
Or like an example of a customer. I mean, you've given us some good, like, general
Yeah, I feel
examples.
like I've given you some good ones. I think that man was the worst customer that I had to ever interact with. I've had like colorful ones. Like, you know, I had a customer that I feel bad because, you know, it happens. This wasn't, but she had Tourette's. And
Okay.
as we were checking out, she kept saying,
Oh, I remember this story. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
She kept cursing, right?
yeah, put it
Yeah.
in my ass.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And she was like, was she screaming it? Was it loud or was it just repetitive?
She was repetitive. It wasn't screaming, and she apologized.
Oh, bless her. No, that's actually really sad.
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
but as far as the worst, I think it would be the guy that like told me I didn't smile.
yeah, fuck him.
And then I had a weird guy that like, I know he liked me. He would like bring me things and he'd come in every time I was there.
Oh, that's creepy as fuck.
That was very hard because then one night I was walking to my car and never parked in the Grove because of course they charge their employees to park there.
Of course they do.
And I like happened to turn around and he was following me.
Jaya?
And then he darted off. So that was a bad customer.
You're brushing
So then I was
past a
like
pretty-
trying to avoid him every time he came in because it was like, oh God, he's here again. Leave me alone.
What would he bring
Eventually
you?
got the picture. I don't know, dessert or like weird coupons to go somewhere or like, I mean, he came in.
all the time.
Yeah, and I was working nights when I first started at
Oh, that's
the
so
Grove.
scary.
So I would close.
And then
he
he-
was like 3 to 11, I think was the schedule. I don't remember. 3 to 11 or 4 to 11 or something like that. And yeah, he would be there like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Unreal. If
Yeah.
you're a regular or if you're a human or if you're just, if you just are existing in the world, don't follow employees to their, don't follow anyone ever. But also like that happens a lot where like we have to get at the comedy club where I work, we have to get walked to our cars. And it's partially because we have tips on us, but also there have been times where people have been mugged and there's like been situations that have happened. Don't do that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. I don't understand. I don't get it. But that's like a life lesson. Have you ever been rendered speechless? Was there ever like a situation that happened where
Yes.
okay, tell me.
The love of my life, who I told my husband
He's on the list.
that if it ever happened, I'd have to leave him.
Okay.
Scott Speedman. I love him so much.
Shout out if you're listening.
Please listen, Scott Speedman. I love him so much. He has been like my celebrity. I don't get crushes on celebrities. It's not like I find all these celebrities attractive.
Yeah.
I find Scott Speedman very attractive.
Okay.
And he also lived in Silver Lake, so I would see him every so often and like,
Oh, he's cute.
oh, he's so handsome.
I just Googled him. He's
love you,
really
Scott
cute.
Speedman.
Oh, he was in Felicity.
Yes, he was in
Aw.
Felicity, which was one of my favorite TV shows.
Oh, bless. Okay, keep going.
And so one of my managers, one day I'm like sitting at the desk, leg up on the table. Who knows why? I don't know. The way I sat behind the information desk. And my manager, Levi, was like, come with me a second. So he like takes me into a stack and he's like, remember how you told me that you like think Scott Speedman is like so handsome and you have like such a crush on him? He's in here right now.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, what? So I'm like, I don't believe you. He's like, no, he's here. So we start walking back to the information desk and he's like waiting to be helped.
Oh, God.
Well, he had come in, he had gone to the side of the information desk, like where we had audiobooks and was like there. And then like came back around. And so I was like walking back and I was like, Levi, I can't help him. Like, I'm too nervous. Like, please don't ask me to help him. And he's like, no, you are. And I'm like, no. So I like, am so nervous. I'm like frozen. So then I like step behind the desk. He won't help him. I have to. And I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, yeah, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. I like couldn't find it. He's like, you don't have any books? I'm like, no. And so I couldn't talk. I didn't know what to do. I was like,
Help.
dying. Yeah. So then he's like, okay, do you have, where's poetry? Can you show me poetry? And I'm like, point with my finger. Like, what? And then I'm like, I'll show you. So then I like take him
Were you
to
able to even
poetry
walk?
and then I like storm off because I was too nervous. I mean, what is wrong with me?
No, you saw a celebrity
So
crush.
he was the one that I just I couldn't do it. Yeah, I was just too nervous.
I love that so much. What's the rudest thing you've ever said to a customer?
Oh boy, I think I've ridden some fine lines.
Tell us about
Because I think I've been like very passive aggressive with a smile.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so
We all
that's
do
when
that.
a customer makes me mad. I'm passive aggressive with a smile, so it's confusing.
But also you're
But I
smiling.
know that I'm trying to be insulting. So I can't specifically remember, but I've definitely done things like, thanks for being so nice to me. Or,
Yeah, we've all those are the most fun because it's like
thanks for being so nice and understanding.
Yeah, 'cause they can't get you fired off of that because you've said
Nope.
a nice thing and you smiled.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's the if you're ever talked to that way by anyone in customer service, just know you were probably a huge asshole to them and they are afraid of getting fired and know they will get fired if they say anything to you. So check yourself if you're like, oh shit, I think that person was being sarcastic or passive aggressive. Check yourself because you probably were. Now listen, we have bad days too and we can be shitty to customers accidentally or on purpose or whatever. But like if someone was helping you and you get that response, look at your life. Look at your life. Okay. So now I hope you've saved room, everyone, because this is the good stuff.
Oh.
We've now moved on to dessert.
Oh, dessert.
This is the third portion of the podcast. What is an example of the best customer you have interacted with or something that you were like, I remember this experience being so incredible? That tends to be the
I'm
response.
kind of like, I don't know.
That tends to be the response. I got to change this question because no one can answer this.
I'm like, customer?
Being kind? What?
Yeah, like I don't think there was ever. I mean, there was like a woman that we called the Hershey Kiss lady, and she would come in and drop off Hershey Kisses to everyone every week.
That's sweet.
And then like bring coupons to get a free box of C's candy.
that's actually really
And she was
sweet.
very nice. She was a very, very nice customer.
Okay. She would just bring it to anybody. She didn't care who was working. She was just
Yeah,
like,
she just like bring it to people working, and she was very sweet.
that stuff makes such a difference. It's small. There was a guy at the comedy club, although he's since been removed and something happened, but he used to bring just bags of candy because he would know when we were working 2 shows, we'd be exhausted and need the sugar.
Yeah.
And he would just leave them by like the back room POS, and we would we would be voraciously, it didn't matter if anyone's dietary, whatever, everybody would just eat the crap out of it. And it would just help. Just things like that help.
Yeah, I
That's a
don't
good
feel
example.
like anyone stands out. I mean, but you know, when people are nice to you and are grateful for your help, or
Yeah.
then you want to actually help them.
Facts.
You
Facts.
want to assist them.
It's so weird how when people are
If you
nice,
could
we
just
want to
be
do
nice.
more. Just be nice.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's-
never understood. Like,
nor I.
you're in a bookstore. Like,
Yeah.
what is there to be
mad
grumpy
about?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. What's the best lesson you've learned from any of your customer service jobs?
The best lesson:
Yeah.
be nice.
Okay. But you knew that before. What's something that you were like, because you're a nice person. So what's something that you were like, because of this job, I learned this thing?
I mean, I think it's just to be friendly and thank the person that's helping you. I mean, I feel like I try to be overly friendly with whoever is helping me, be it at a store or in a restaurant or wherever, because I think they appreciate it and they'll be more willing to like
Do more
take
in the
care of
future.
you if you are making their job pleasant.
Yeah. There was so for Jaya's husband's birthday, what up, Luke? We go to Olive Garden because that is his favorite restaurant on the planet, which is confusing to me, but you know,
Me
whatever.
too.
Yeah, but hey, if you want to sponsor this podcast, I'm in the hole. So
Loves the Olive Garden.
Yeah, we
that
actually
eggplant
love it.
Parmesan though.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the salmon I had there was not bad either. We just went the other week. That's why we're saying that. Anyway, so when we were there 2-3-ish years ago for his birthday,
3 years ago maybe.
our server was really good. Jaya's son was a lot younger and a lot more active, and we were all over the place, and we were a party of like 10. I mean,
Yeah.
there were a lot, maybe
I
even
think
more.
so.
There were a lot of us.
Yeah.
And he was really, really good. And so here's the thing, guys. Whenever you ask to speak to the managers always think you're going to complain.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get good service, my thing is I try to always speak to the manager because I want them to also get positive. Because managers, their job blows so hard too, especially managers of restaurants. Like it just blows. You're getting it from the servers, the customers, everybody. You're getting it from everybody. So God bless all the managers. I could never do that job. But so I was like, hey, I want to, can we speak to the manager? And Jaya remembered this story. I did not remember this, but we talked about this the other day. So the manager comes over and he's got kind of a scowl because he obviously thinks something negative is going to happen.
He was a jolly man.
Yes, that's a accurate description. And so I was just like, hey, like our server was really good. And like everybody else chimed in at our table and was like, yeah, he was phenomenal. And he really was like, and that is any place where you go that has unlimited anything, whether it's refills or breadsticks or salad or pasta, whatever it is, they have to be on your table so hard. And they are, even if you give them a 25% tip, that is less than they deserve for how many times they had to come handhold your table. Like it's exhausting. God bless all of you that work in those types of jobs. And Jaya, what did the manager say when I told him how good the server was?
Well, he was like, "Oh, that's good to know. Well, I'm gonna have to give him some art books." His name was Art,
And we all look around and we're like, "What?" And the manager's name was Art, and we're like, "Art bucks, art bucks." Come to find out, what were art bucks?
Art bucks were vouchers that he could use towards getting food at the Olive Garden.
So food at his job.
At his job.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But it was like, I mean, listen, it was sweet, but the manager's response, we were just like, and I had forgotten about it. And Jaya brought it up at dinner. She's like, you think we're going to give out any more art bucks this year? And I was like, oh my God, I forgot.
Art bucks.
Okay. So anyway, I've derailed. So, and I think you kind of answered this, but this is the last question. And if you've said it, it's okay. What's one piece of advice that you would give to customers who are interacting with customer service workers other than like, be nice? Is there something else that you're like, this would be very helpful if people knew this thing?
I think have a little bit of patience.
I was just thinking that. Group mind. I was like, please say patience. Please say patience.
People are so impatient.
Yes, they are.
And also if there's a line, I mean, there's only so many people working in one place.
Yes.
And so, I mean, unless you just see them sitting there talking, which you don't see all the time,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Or if they're on their phones.
or if they're on their phones, which we weren't allowed to have phones, so we wouldn't be on our phones. But like, if they're doing something, they're not ignoring you, or they're not, of course, they're just as if it's busy, they're just as stressed as you are and would like to help you, but there's only one person, you know, or so many people, and everybody's helping, and they aren't trying to ignore you.
No, it's not.
They don't want to get in trouble.
No.
They don't want to fight with you. They don't want you to be mad at them. They just want to be able to help you and have it run smoothly. Like, I'm not
100%.
looking to not help you.
Yeah. I have no vested interest in making this experience shitty for you.
Or like, you know, I understand, like, people are very impatient, and
Yes.
and I think you have to sometimes have a little bit of patience.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
No one's yet given that advice on the podcast, and I'm
So-
like, I totally agree. Well, Jaya, how can people get in touch with you? Because they're going to want to find out more about you and see your beautiful face and know where they can see you on the TVs.
They can get in touch with me via email.
Okay. Are you
Wait.
comfortable giving out your email address?
I don't know what else I'd be
Social
more
media?
comfortable.
Are you comfortable with social
Oh,
media?
yeah.
Let's do that.
My social media is, you mean like Instagram?
Sure.
I'm real bad at the social medias.
Yeah, you're not great at it.
Well, I was good, and
You
then
had a
someone
kid.
stole my Instagram.
Yeah,
And
so this is that is actually awful.
I've
and he's
had to
still
start all
currently
over.
using it.
I know.
Did you see that? I was
Yeah.
like, I looked the other day and I was like, how is this person? And what it was, Instagram did nothing about it, right? They were like,
I tried. I sent like a million emails. I did everything they told me to do. And I had to start like a new Instagram. And like, I still don't have all my peeps back, but I find them. But yeah.
So-
I haven't been good since then.
Well,
I was
I wouldn't
good
be
at
either.
posting until that happened. And then Facebook, I'm never good at, but you can find me on Facebook.
Okay, can you spell your name out for the humans?
Yes. My name is very long.
It's very long. Get patient.
Jaya. Last name S-U-B as in boy, R-A, M as in Mary, A-N as in Nancy, I-A-N as in Nancy.
Very common last name.
Jaya Subramanian.
Subramanian.
And I think my Instagram is like Jaya Baby.
They gave you the handle back?
Yeah, I took it back. I'm pretty sure it's Jaya Baby, but
Oh,
I could
that's
be
nice.
wrong. But yeah.
Okay. Well, you can find her that way.
You
And then
can.
you can find you on IMDb too. There's
Yeah. You can find me in other ways.
Yeah, there's ways to get in touch with you. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Are there any ways to see you on past episodes of things, or are there any commercials running or coming up that they can look for you
I
in?
will have one coming up. I had one running. It's no longer running. And then I do have one coming up that I'm.
Are you allowed
I mean,
to talk about
I don't know. You know, we could film it and it could not run. So.
Okay. Are you allowed to say the product it's for?
Oh.
or- Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Total wireless.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the latest because I'm about to have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing anything super fun right now.
Yeah, yet again, another industry where women are punished for being pregnant.
Yeah.
So good.
So
Okay.
that's it.
All right. Well,
I'm not exciting right now. No shows.
That's okay.
It's the holiday. I'll be leaving soon.
yeah. And you're growing a human.
Getting out of here for a month
Yeah, to go to the shitty weather. I don't know, Jaya.
where it actually feels like Christmas.
I know it does though. I miss.
So-
Yeah, I totally get that. That's why Big Bear gets crazy around this time of year because
Yeah.
people are like, "Where's the snow?"
Yeah.
Because it was 99 degrees 3 days ago, something like that.
Yeah.
It was super hot here.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to drop your checks now. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us out here, Service from Hell. Please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and tell your friends to listen. It will help us reach more people that need to be schooled on the art of being kind and will be catharsis for those of us still working in the industry. Remember, if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to go out. So don't be garbage and be good to people. It's easier that way. Thank you so much for coming, Jaya. Appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.